The US national debt is nearing $34 trillion. Interest rates are at the highest levels in over 2 decades, with inflation running rampant, leaving the US economy on the verge of collapse. But could the blueprint to saving America's economy be hidden in Argentina's recent financial strategies? Argentina has emerged from their own severe economic struggles to record its first financial surplus since 2008, which is something the US hasn't done since 2001. But to better understand why we even need a solution in the first place, we have to understand the problems that the US is currently facing. Managing money in today's economy feels a bit like trying to climb Mount Everest in flip-flops. And as of the latest reports, the US has experienced inflation rates that peaked at over 7%, the highest in nearly 4 decades, and since 2020, inflation is up over 20% in total, reportedly, but it's probably way more than 20%. What does all of this mean? It means you might have to fill out a loan application just to buy a loaf of bread and a gallon of milk. And while we're playing financial bingo, we can't forget the national debt, which has skyrocketed to an astounding $34 trillion. If you stack $32 trillion in $100 bills, you could build a staircase to Mars and still have enough left over for a small lunar base, which is still not enough to pay off my student loans, but that's an entire other video. Speaking of astronomical figures, in 2023, the US paid out nearly $659 billion in interest payments alone. The US spends more on interest payments for its national debt than all but 8 other countries in the world spend on their entire budgets, which pays for everything. In fact, if every American pitched in $2,000, we would almost cover 1 year's worth of interest and still wouldn't see a single cent in change for the better. These high stakes mean our government often has to choose between 2 terrible options: raise rates and slow the economy to tackle inflation, or let the debt grow, increase the interest expense, and handle the fallout. It's like deciding whether to pay rent or the electric bill. Both need to be paid, but not paying either has a consequence you'd rather not face, unless you hate electricity and roofs. With these vast economic challenges, you're probably wondering if there's a secret recipe out there that could turn economic lemons into lemonade. Well, Argentina might just have the recipe that America needs. But even Argentina has faced its own set of insane economic problems. Before we can appreciate the turnaround, we have to understand the financial struggles that Argentina has been through. Argentina is no stranger to economic hardship characterized by sky-high inflation, a ballooning national debt, and significant poverty rates. Inflation has been Argentina's longtime nemesis. In recent years, Argentina has experienced inflation rates into the triple digits, with a mind-blowing annual rate hitting 300% this year alone, which is the highest in the entire world. Imagine your grocery bill tripling in about a year, and you'll get a taste of how everybody living in Argentina feels right now. Then there's the national debt. Argentina's debt has been a roller coaster of restructuring and defaults. By the end of 2021, Argentina's public debt reached nearly 90% of its GDP, the result of legendary financial mismanagement that spanned decades and multiple economic crises. Poverty levels also deeply plague the country, with 4 out of 10 Argentines living below the poverty line. This stat represents millions of people facing daily challenges just to afford basic necessities. These issues sparked widespread discontent and demand for drastic change. So how does Argentina solve all of these complex economic issues? Allow me to introduce you to Argentina's new president, Javier Milei. President Milei is renowned for his libertarian views and vocal criticism of conventional economic policies and his love for chainsaws. Yeah, chainsaws. President Milei implemented a series of bold measures aimed at stabilizing and reviving Argentina's declining economy. In his first 30 days, Milei cut Argentina's financially wasteful ministries or departments by 50%, which resulted in firing 15,000 government workers. He also devalued the peso so that it was closer to the market rate, and then introduced a 350-page package of economic reforms that aimed to considerably reduce government regulations. After President Milei's first 100 days in office, Argentina has posted its first surplus since 2008, earning the president increased faith that his tough economic measures are actually producing results. Now, this might seem like an incredible turnaround, but Milei was upfront during his inauguration speech that these measures would be difficult for the public to handle, as he was quoted saying, "There is no alternative to a shock adjustment," and also saying the economy would worsen in the short term because there is no money. There is no denying the progress that President Milei has made in a short amount of time. So the question remains, can what Argentina achieved be applied to the US? The political landscape in America is highly polarized, and sweeping reforms would require substantial legislative support, which may be difficult to secure. The social implications of drastic cuts in public spending could provoke significant public resistance, especially if they threaten social safety nets. But like Argentina, sacrifices will have to be made in order to turn the tide in the US's favor. The current US federal budget exceeds $6 trillion with a deficit of approximately $1.38 trillion for the fiscal year 2023. A substantial portion of this budget is committed to military spending, Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security. The Department of Defense alone could cut their spending in half and still outspend any other country. Is there a way to transition Social Security to a system based on private accounts that could introduce a greater efficiency and personalization in retirement planning, while also potentially saving billions in federal expenses? Could we consolidate some federal agencies and even eliminate others? Are there similar regulations in the US that are burdening the American people and businesses alike that would encourage economic growth if we just got rid of them? As we've looked at Argentina's big changes and thought about whether the US could do something similar, it's clear that change is hard but necessary. Whether it's cutting military spending, changing Social Security, or reducing rules that hold businesses back, each step could build a better and stronger economy. If Argentina's changes have shown us anything, it's that with some bravery and new ideas, real change is possible. If you like this video, don't forget to like and subscribe, and as always, stay invested, my friends.